Hi, and welcome back to Fear Me, It's Brie, and this is the one where Brie has oversaturated the camera and she cannot figure out how to fix it. So we're going to leave it as it is. I'm going to be looking at it every 5 minutes or so because it's really bothering me, and I feel like every darn time I turn on the camera and I do this, I end up having some sort of glitch, and I'm not going to apologize for it this time because I'm tired of saying, sorry about this. One of these days I might have a perfect video, but this is not that day. So we're going to roll with it. It's been like a month since I've been on here, between family visiting, holidays, sickness. So my goal is December, I will do more than just this one episode. Will that happen? We'll see. I'm taking it week by week just because Christmas season is nutso. So we're going to figure that out as it happens. This is December. January, I'm hoping to jump on more consistently again because stuff will die down, things will slow down. I'll be very bored after the Christmas season. Probably snowed in because the winter has started here, and when winter comes to my town, it just like destroys everything in its path and you just want to stay in your house. So that's probably what I will do. Maybe I'll even have more episodes in January and February when we're snowed in and I'm grouchy. So yeah. I love winter in the sense of I love Christmas, right? I love Christmas season. But what really gets my goat is when it's just like, all right, Christmas has been over for 3 weeks. We're after New Year's. Can we just have spring already? Because everything is ice. It is dark. It is cold. I don't want to go anywhere, but I have to. And I hate that time of year. So I can't wait till, I can't say I can't wait till we're in that phase because it just is like, and it's not fun. But when we're in that phase, I'll have more time to jump on. So again, goal is to have an episode like every week this month. We'll see how far I get. The oversaturation really is bothering me, but alas, here we are. I also was going to say that I think for future, what I want to try doing if I know I might be MIA for a month because it's holiday, Thanksgiving month, or Christmas month, or just something like that. Since I don't even do these live, right? I pre-record. What I might try and do is at the times where I know that's going to happen. So for instance, summer when I spent 2 weeks with my family and wasn't here, I might try and do a more topical focused episode or a deep dive episode versus a let's talk about the news episode, just so that I have content that's going out and it would make it easier. I thought the doorknob turned. That was terrifying. And it will make it easier for me to potentially call up some friends that I would like to have pop on and say, hey, do you want to be on? Let's talk about this one topic together because I know you're interested in it too. So that's something that I want to try doing. Not right away, just because again, it's like I'm still figuring things out. I had the idea for this a year ago and I started this in January of last year, and I'm still figuring out what I want to do with it. So eventually that will probably start happening, especially again in the months where I know we're going to be on vacation for 2 weeks at the lake. I'll have a couple episodes pre-prepared that'll just automatically upload. So that's something I would like to try doing. So if there's, any specific topics or anything like that, that would be cool to do a deep dive on, send them my way and I will start looking into those things. Also, was there something else? I don't think that there was. I think that's about it. We're going to be talking about a plethora of things because I kind of just got a bunch of topics that I was interested in and intrigued by that we're going to be going over. I did not gauge how many I grabbed, so I'm just going to kind of go through them for what feels an appropriate amount of time, and then I will end the video because I won't make you sit here for 3 hours of me being like, oh, and then there was this, and then there was that. I definitely have a few sad topics. We're going to talk about the DINK trend. I feel like saying that is a naughty word or something. It just doesn't sound right. We're going to be talking about the new tampons for trans men. We're going to be talking about this article I just noticed my friend sent me and I didn't have time to respond, so sorry about that. About Panera Bread facing wrongful death suit from caffeinated charged lemonade. And it's, I guess, the second one that they've had or something. So we're going to look at that. Potentially we're going to talk about a Blaze article about Biden trying to make it so that conservative Christians cannot adopt. And I also have pulled up the executive order that is based off of and the White House briefing fact sheet of the Biden-Harris administration on foster care. for just little extra credit there. And I'll link those in the description as well if you want to read through them, because I found them interesting. I read through them and picked out in my mind what I thought was relevant to the discussion. So we're going to talk about those, and I think I'm going to start with the DINK trend just because it's something that I kind of roll my eyes at. So for those that don't know, which I feel like everybody does know, but just in case you don't know and it's something that you're not familiar with, a DINK is I'm just going to read this person's tweet. Sean Cav says, this whole DINK trend is a sad, weird flex. It's one thing if you don't want kids. Fine, I do agree with the idea. Fine, do I agree with the idea of a shallow existence? No, but you do. To brag about eating out and being consumer is sad. Your life revolves around these things. So basically it's double income, no kids, I think is what it stands for, where it's just another Chelsea Handler-esque video of a day in the life of a single woman who's 35, or a day in the life of a couple who are in their 30s and have missed their chance to procreate and build up a family, or just don't want to. And also, there is something to be said about if God has not called you to have kids in that season, that's not, like, you're not this person, right? Like, if you're having fun with your spouse, if you're traveling, if you're doing any kind of stuff like that, that's not wrong. That is not inherently wrong to enjoy the time that God gives you before kids to get to know one another or to enjoy one another. That is not inherently wrong. What is wrong is when you take that lifestyle of like, well, we aren't going to have kids because we want to do X, Y, and Z. We don't want to have kids. We're going to promote not having kids. We're going to promote not fulfilling the Great Commission in the sense of family, because kids are stupid. Why would you want to have kids when you can do this instead? That's where the heart of the issue is, I think, where it's not just saying like, oh, we don't have kids yet, so we did X, Y, and Z, and it was a lot of fun. It was, don't have kids because they're going to tie you down. They're going to bog you down. It's going to be a miserable life, and it's going to be the worst life you could ever lead. Why have kids when you could do this instead? Is basically the mindset behind it. So I'm going to make sure that's not going to blow our eardrums out, because my sound has been wonky today too. And I'm going to play the video, and I'm going to mute myself first. So bear with me for just a quick second of silence for those dinks.
Why is nobody talking about being dinks? Well, I'm freshly married and I'm going to talk about it. Here's our life as dinks in our early 30s. No shocker here, folks. Today we went to Costco. We don't have kids to feed, but we got lots of money to spend on goodies. Brian always checks out while I get a box, and then I sit here and look cute. Here's the haul, and our total was $252. The register game at Costco never gets old. You cannot tell me that grocery shopping and a fresh slice of Costco pizza isn't a good date night. I mean, you can tell me that, but I don't believe it. Obviously, we had car cookies for dessert, and yeah, I will probably just make this a series now, so follow along for more dink content. Why?
Honestly, that's kind of funny to me, because I just pulled the first DINK video I could find, right? I wasn't like looking for one where they're like, we're in Hawaii. If we weren't in Hawaii, or we're in Hawaii, and if we had kids, we'd be in Michigan and there'd be snow and we'd be miserable. I was thinking it was going to be more like that. So I pulled the first one I found. It's funny that she's like, oh, it's a great date night to go do this thing with my husband. If we had kids, we couldn't do that. Or like, you know, my husband and I have like gone grocery shopping together for fun without the kids. Like, if a lot of times, like if it's like, oh, your parents are watching the kids because we're going out for your birthday or my birthday, we're going to take a little extra time and we're going to run and grab groceries or X, Y, and Z. You can do this with your kids. I've taken my kids to, not Costco because we don't have one, but we have a store that's very similar, and I've taken my kids there before and we've gotten food, or we've all four of us gone and done that, right? So it's like, this is a very weird one to start with, I feel like, because the DINK thing where it's like, oh, things you don't get to do when you have kids. And I'm like, you do get to do that when you have kids. Also, I'm really curious to see, I'm going to scrub through the video a bit because I want to see what was on their receipt for like grocery bill. So that's like, okay, so they're buying shrimp. I think that's shrimp. I'm not a fan of shrimp. We wouldn't buy that anyway. Cookies in the car. Like, that's something my husband and I will do anyway. Sometimes with the kids, we're just like, don't let them see we got the cookies. So spinach, Chobani's. I want to see their, you gotta remember here too, so they're buying their stuff in bulk, so that's another reason it's going to be so stinking expensive. So right, so chicken $14.99, You have your Oikos Zero, $12.99. You bought it in bulk, so it's like, yeah. And this might be like the groceries maybe for the month, except for like some consumable things in the sense of like, oh, lettuce, you're not going to keep that for the month, right? But like yogurt, you might be able to keep for the month because of the date. There's 2 of them. If they have one a day, 6 yogurts, that would be about a week. So maybe they are just planning on one a week or whatever. Love Crunch. That sounds nice. Whatever that is. I'm guessing it's some kind of cereal. Shrimp. Wow, they bought 2 bags of shrimp, $14.99 and $16.99. I don't know what that is. Mint pretzel, $8.99. Organic kiwi, $10. So just LaCroix, $20 worth of LaCroix. So the thing is, like, we definitely are feeling the economy as a married couple with 1 income and 2 children, right? So we definitely feel that. We definitely know it's like expensive out there. But something about this shopping list feels a little shallow, where it's like, we got what we wanted to get because we don't have kids. So we're going to blow all our money now so that if we ever did want to have kids in the future, we're not going to be able to afford it. I love the comments. Dude's eating pizza and looks dead inside. I didn't know that was a combo. Everybody's kind of just like this one. I work almost exclusively with seniors, and I can tell you after nearly 20 years in the practice, people who decide on this lifestyle are miserable in their late years. It is different for infertile couples. They wish for children but seem in a better place emotionally. So that makes sense because, again, so when you're like 60, 70, let's hope that we don't hit nursing home age or like quality of life till like 99. Let's hope that we're all like super spry and young until... Let's just hope we're all immortal, but we're not. So when you hit that stage of life, right, where you're in a hospital bed alone, and you've made these DINK videos where you're like, this is what it's like to be a woman with no kids. This is what it's like to be a couple with no kids. You're going to lose your spouse eventually, and then you're going to be alone with no kids. They're going to lose you, and they're going to be alone with no kids. One of you is going to die first. I'm sorry. It's inevitable. And if you don't have any children, your parents are probably long dead. Let's say you live to like 90. Your parents are long dead at this point. They're not going to be there for you. You probably weren't there for them either. So why would they be? You're in a hospital bed, right? You're life support-ish. Let's say it's a life support-esque situation, but you're able to hear. Say you're able to process. You're able to like, you know what's going on around you, right? Euthanasia is now super popular unless... the family member says, whoa, don't pull the plug for my mom. And they're like, oh, okay, let's not do that. Let's say we're at that point where it's like euthanasia is totally one of the first options for when you get to be that old. You don't have anyone to say, hey, don't pull the plug. You're laying there. You can't say anything. Maybe you're not responsive. You're laying there. You don't want to die yet. You're alone. You're sad. And the nurses and doctors are like, well, they don't have anybody. Might as well pull the plug and give the bed to somebody else. They've lived a long life. Probably would be better anyway. They probably would want it. And you're laying there in your head screaming, please, if only there was somebody that would advocate for me, who loved me. And you missed out on that chance on purpose. And again, there's stuff to be said for people who are infertile, people who cannot have children. That's God's calling in their life, as hard as it is for them probably to understand, in the sense of there's people who want those children who will never have those children. And then there's people who are fully capable of having those children, but are selfish. And karma will bite them in the end. They will end up in that hospital bed alone with a sterile environment around them. Nobody to hold their hand when they go. Some nurse that probably doesn't care and can't wait till her shift can end. Cares to a degree, but shift's done. I don't have to think about you. So what do you want? Like, is this what people want? They want to just live their lives sad and alone and then die sad and alone? I just literally think of Aladdin, where he's like, you were born a street rat and you will die a street rat and only your fleas will mourn you. That's kind of what it feels like, where it's like this lifestyle is not inherently wrong, right? So we have another one right here. I'm going to click on it so that you can see it. As a single child-free woman who lives alone, I've often been the orphan guest to other people's family festivities. But this year I'm starting my own tradition and spending Christmas Day on my own. That is the saddest thing that I can like process in my mind, where it's like, you don't want to like, okay, like, but even if people invite you over, you're like, what? This comment says, I personally think it's beautiful when stupid people refuse to reproduce. We should all be thanking dinks. I mean, yes and no. I love this one. Parents of dinks watching their children brag about no kids like, my line has ended. And it's Denethor from Lord of the Rings. Flee for your lives, right before he runs and, oh, he's dead. Light the funeral pyre. Oh, he's not dead. What have I done? And then, I'm not going to say what happens in case for some reason you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, but just watch them. They're great. The dink trend is getting out of control. I don't know if this is true or not, but I guess somebody looked up the real meaning of the word dink, and it's a very small, disappointing poop. Okay. But yeah. Oh, this ad. This ad was beautiful from France for, I might get like a strike and the video might get in trouble, but it's great. It's great. So this ad, I'm going to play it. I'll have to pause it every so often, so there'll be awkward silences. But this is like reverse dink, right? This is somebody investing in their child. And if you haven't seen it, we're just going to play it because it is absolutely beautiful. So this is the opposite of what is promoted in America when it comes to family. So I think everyone gets the gist. The song is "Come and Get Your Love" by is it Redbone? But anyway, I'm gonna play it without the song so that we can watch the video but not get in trouble. So what happens, right, is you have this dad, right, and he's spending time with his son. They're going for a walk. They're looking at Christmas lights, right? They're doing their thing. This dad is like, he's dancing with his son with like the Walkman, and the son's all, it's cute. He's little. And then it moves on to this part where the dad's like, hey, son, and the same song, Come and Get Your Love starts playing, and he's a teenager now, so he's kind of like, Dad. Then it's on the ringtone, so he starts dancing as an older man. Now the dad's middle-aged, the son's a young adult, and the son's kind of like, Dad, come on, we're in a coffee shop. Dad, seriously. And he's, getting it on, dancing around. And now we have a little bit later in life, we have the son's moved out, done his own thing, and they hear ringing, and it's the son FaceTime them with his baby, says Merry Christmas, and then he starts playing the song and dancing with his son. So it's just this like beautiful picture of family where it's just the generational thing and the family still being connected. And the joy this Christmas offer much more than the gift of technology. So it's like a super impactful ad, like it says right there, because it's like, instead of it being like a day in the life of that's not day in the life of a single man with no kids who is enjoying his coffee, all like the coffee shop scene, right? So it's not just some guy alone on his phone at a coffee shop. It's a father and a son having what looks like a meaningful conversation. And then you have the ringtone, the phone rings, and you hear the "Come and Get Your Love," and it's like, it's like goofy because the dad's like dancing and the son's just like, okay, Dad. Where it's like those meaningful moments that you have with your children will be lost on you if you don't have those children, up until the point where that father being so present in his son's life was so impactful that he carried that into his own life with his children. And it's an absolutely beautiful ad. Whereas in America, we have all these, I'm childless and it's by choice and I love it. And I'm rambling on this one because it really aggravates me that people have this mindset that you need to like not have kids, that kids are going to drag you down. If you don't have kids, you're going to be unhappy. You're going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated all the time. You're not going to have any you time. And it's like, okay, being a parent is sacrifice, right? Are there times where I'd like to just slip away? Yeah, there are. I can't though, because I made the conscious choice to raise these tiny humans and keep them alive, and not just keep them alive with a feeding tube of go watch a movie. Granted, my son's watching a movie right now, but that's just because I found an opportunity to slip away and record this. But I don't sit my child on the couch with an IV to the TV and just not parent, right? You make a conscious choice as a parent to be in your kid's life. And if you're not going to be in your kid's life and your kid is just siphoning off of the iPad or the TV or this or that, you're not going to have these moments in the future. You're not going to have, what example are you setting for your child where it's like, oh, well, mom just sat me on the couch, gave me an iPad. Yes, that's how you parent. And then that's what your kids get. And then this detachment of child to parent is just going to grow and grow and grow and grow to the point where we might as well be making babies with incubators because there is no emotional connection between the parents and the children. And anyway, I've rambled. We're going to move on from that. We're going to move on from the DINK topic. But yeah, there's other videos of the DINK thing. There's one where it says, my wife and I are dinks. We get to have our entire life savings in cryptocurrency, meme coins, and live stress-free. Moms in 2023 taking their single daughters to Bitcoin. What? But anyway, it's like, I like my kids. I love my kids. Do they stress me out? Do I sometimes want to pull my hair out? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I'm going to play this one, I guess. I'm going to play this video. But I think it looks like it might be the same people, but I'm going to play it so we can just have one more mindset of the DINK lifestyle and sear it into our brains.
We're dinks. We're going to be asked constantly by family, friends, and strangers when we're going to have kids.
We're dinks. We're going to go to Costco and buy all the snacks we want.
We're dinks. We're going to support our friends who have kids, even if we decide to never have any.
We're dinks. We're going to have... We're dinks. We're going to have lots of... We're dinks. We're going to have lots of disposable income to spend on whatever we like.
We're dinks. We're going to get chastised by people on the internet because they're going to assume that we're just obsessed with material things, even though arguably you need a lot more material things once you have kids.
Okay, so him being all like, we have all kinds of disposable income to do what we like. And then her being like, you're going to think that we're obsessed with material things? You kind of just gave off that vibe. And okay, having kids, you're going to have more material things. Okay, are you buying those material things for your children out of vanity? Or do you need diapers? Do you need a bed for your child to sleep in? It's like, wait, that doesn't equate at all. You need to buy things for children just like you need to buy things for yourself. Lady. Nutcase. All right, moving on. We're going to finish out the video.
We're dinks. We don't need to find a sitter or rope our family into babysitting when we want to go out for the night.
We're dinks. We're going to be told the only way that we'll ever be fulfilled in life is by having kids.
We're dinks. We're going to book flights whenever we feel like it.
We're dinks. We're still going to stick to a strict budget to meet our financial goals, no matter how much wiggle room we have in our finances.
We're dinks. We're not going to make a life-altering choice just because everybody else is doing it.
Period.
So what annoys me about that too is we're not going to make a life-altering choice just because everybody else is doing it. That is exactly what you're doing. Sorry. That is exactly what you are doing. You are foregoing the beauty of having a family, having children, the joy that you will have in your old age when you sit at that table, right? I was listening to a podcast recently where the guy basically said a man's crowning glory biblically or in general isn't that he's sipping margaritas on a beach by himself. It's who's around that table at the end of his life. What legacy has he left behind? You are going to be forgotten in an instant if all you did was material stuff for yourself, sip margarita. You're going to be forgotten. You have no legacy. Only your fleas will mourn you because there's nothing for them to siphon their life force off of anymore. If you have a legacy of children, grandchildren, something that you have built, you will continue through the ages. Your business might end in 20 years after your death. Your children, as long as they keep up this reproduction train, your DNA will be there you'll be a part of this earth and an imprint on this earth forever. And what's more so, in a Christian viewpoint, if you've trained up every child and they've taken the path that we would like for our children to take, your inheritance will be in heaven as well because your children will be there with you. But anyway, they're doing exactly what they said that they were not going to do. They are following a trend. just because everybody else is doing it. And that is just like having a baby is an extremely life-altering decision, because it is. Choosing to not have a child or choosing to not have a family and only focus on yourself is also a life-altering decision. And I will end it right there on the DINK topic, because I know I've been on enough. So I don't know if we're going to get to all the topics, because that's already 25 minutes of me complaining about DINKs. So now we're going to jump over to the Panera Bread one, because I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Panera Bread faces second wrongful death suit from caffeinated charged lemonade. And this is from Good Morning America, by the way. Panera Bread is at the center of another wrongful death lawsuit after a Florida family claimed the restaurant's caffeinated lemon drink caused Dennis Brown to go into cardiac arrest. The popular fast casual chain issued warnings in late October and added signage on menus for the highly caffeinated charged lemonade beverages after a similar lawsuit alleged a woman died after drinking one. So I'm guessing, I don't go to Panera Bread super often. The only one we have is like half hour from me. I used to go there all the time because I worked at a place that was next to it. I haven't really gone in years. I actually went on Black Friday and got like an iced coffee and a cinnamon roll because I'm obsessed with cinnamon rolls. But I literally have not been to Panera in years, so I have no idea what's on their menu now. I don't remember this ever being on the menu, but what I'm assuming that it sounds like it is it's one of those like chain coffee joint energy drinks. Dunkin' has them, everywhere has them. Starbucks, I'm not sure, do they have one? I don't know, because I don't get that at Starbucks. But Dunkin' had their energy punch or whatever it was called, where it's literally they take like a can of Monster and they add some of their tea to it or something. I'm not sure how they make it. I had one time and it was disgusting. Actually, it's not Monster, it is Rockstar now. But I'm assuming that's what that is it's an energy something or another. In the wake of that death earlier this year, the restaurant chain at the time advised customers that the drinks contain about as much caffeine as Panera's dark roast coffee, and has cautioned customers to use in moderation, with the disclaimers that it is not recommended for children, people sensitive to caffeine, pregnant, or nursing women. A standard order of Panera's charged lemonade contains 13 milligrams of caffeine per ounce, but the iced drink did not previously account for possible ice dilution in its original nutrition description on menus. ABC News has learned Panera is undertaking the process of updating its menu materials and information. So I guess you can get strawberry, lemon mint, mango, yuzu citrus, or blood orange charged lemonade. You know what? I had blood orange lemonade at Panera about a year and a half ago, but I don't think it was the charged one. Was it a year and a half ago? I was pregnant with my daughter, and it was like 2 years ago now, I guess. But it didn't have the charged thing on it, and also I was pregnant, so I was like being a little more conscious about how much caffeine I was having, so I wouldn't have had it anyway if it was. So that's interesting. The 30-ounce large-sized charged lemonade was previously listed on Panera's menu as containing 390 milligrams at the time of its first lawsuit, which is just 10 milligrams shy of the recommended daily maximum adult consumption amount of caffeine, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The Panera menu now states the same drink contains 237 milligrams of caffeine. ABC News has learned Panera is undertaking the process of updating its menu material and information. The new lawsuit, filed on Monday and obtained by ABC News, alleges that 46-year-old Brown, who is a member of the restaurant's SIP Club that allows customers to order unlimited drinks, had consumed charged lemonades with his dinner. So multiple charged lemonades with his dinner at a Panera location near his job in Florida, and later died while he was walking home. So, that would make your heart like... So, like, that's just the worst noise ever. But you know what I mean? Your heart's just, like, going and going and going and going from that, which is why a lot of people will use energy drinks as pre-workout, because it gets them going, and then they work it off, and they have that, you know what I mean? That's not something, if the man's just sitting there putting food in his mouth, and then he walks home not doing anything strenuous, he's not going to work that off, so his body is just going to overload. It makes sense. The lawsuit states Panera advertised the plant-based charged lemonades. Okay, so that's another thing, is who knows what's in it, as coming in 3 flavors, as taking lemonade to the next level with clean caffeine as an instant energy drink derived from guarana and green coffee extract. According to ABC Atlanta affiliate station WSB, Brown has a chromosome disorder, and those close to him, including a supportive living coach, Deanne Burgess said that Brown did not buy energy drinks or anything like that. So his body also was not used to having that kind of stuff in it. So that's another thing that would have factored into things. Brown's family told WSB that Brown avoided energy drinks due to having high blood pressure. The suit further claims that the unregulated beverage purchased by Brown was offered side by side with all the store's non-caffeinated and or less caffeinated drinks. It was not advertised as an energy drink, nor were there any warnings to consumers. I'm going to be weird and just kind of pause this video for one quick second, and you're going to have an empty chair for a minute because I have to go take care of something and I don't feel like splicing things. All right, I am back. I had a little interruption. Little guy wanted a snack, and I didn't really want to have to fix the video later because I just don't want to. So sorry about the chair. Maybe we should name her. She can be my stand-in when I need her. Accordingly, Dennis consumed the Panera Charged lemonade, reasonably confident it was a traditional lemonade containing a reasonable amount of caffeine, safe for him to drink. The suit declares upon information belief during his 90 minutes at Panera Bread Cafe, I think that's what it stands for, PBC, Dennis refilled his Charged lemonade 2 additional times. Dennis had a known habit of drinking 3 beverages in a row, the lawsuit says. He was found unresponsive on the sidewalk and pronounced dead at the scene on October 9th. So that is kind of scary because if I didn't know, like, that had that much caffeine, I might be like, to my toddler, I'm just going to get him a lemonade. And then I would go fill the cup and then I'd be like, I guess you can have a refill before we go home. And might unknowingly overload my toddler's heart with that. So they should probably be labeled a little better, but also people should probably pay attention to what they're giving their kids or themselves. Panera expresses our deep sympathy for Mr. Brown's family. Based on our investigation, we believe his unfortunate passing was not caused by one of the company's products. We view this lawsuit, which was filed by the same law firm as a previous claim, to be equally without merit. Panera stands firmly by the safety of our products. So granted, there is something to be said about moderation, everything in moderation, right? Like, you don't want to just sit there and, like, if anyone sat there and gluttonously was like consuming, then yeah, that might be on them. But at the same time, if something is not labeled to tell you, like, hey, this thing has as much caffeine as, give me 1 second. Let's go over to Google real quick. How much caffeine is in a regular lemonade? So let's just say, what's it going to give me? A regular lemonade. All I'm getting is stuff about Panera now, but let's say, what's a popular lemonade brand is in Minute Maid lemonade? Is that still a thing? I think it is. Minute Maid lemonade. 100% real lemons, supposedly, and contains no added caffeine. So if I just was grabbing a lemonade, I would be like, oh, I'm not expecting this to be as bad as a soda, right? So let's see how much caffeine is in popular energy drinks. So like let's say like Monster, Rockstar. How much caffeine is in popular energy drinks? All right. So let's see. Rockstar Unplugged is 80 milligrams. Red Bull, 80 milligrams. VA Energy, 80 milligrams. Central Energy. That doesn't seem right. Okay, so caffeine content according to Google, and a cup of coffee, 8 ounces. I normally drink like 10 ounces, I guess. So let's say 8 ounces, 96 milligrams. That's under 100. And then let's see how much caffeine is in a can of Monster. 160. So that's almost double an 8-ounce coffee, but it is also a larger size because the cans are 16 ounces, but nobody like drinks a can of Monster and just says, I'm only going to drink 8 ounces, right? how much caffeine is in... Actually, I don't need to Google that. We were just there. Panera's lemonade said that it had... Where'd it go? I'm trying to find it again. So a Monster, typically it looks like it has 160 grams of caffeine. The lemonade here was... trying to find it. I'm not seeing it. Where did it... Oh, wow. Okay, so I guess a 16-ounce Monster contains, what did we say, 160? And then the Panera Bread lemonade contains 237 milligrams, so 160 grams. Not that bad. Not great, but not that bad. A large cup of coffee might be the same. This had 237. That's double that at least, right? So that's not good for your body. And if it's that size, that doesn't look very big. That doesn't look like it's like a 32-ounce drink or anything huge like that. So the Panera, the FDA sent a written statement saying the FDA is saddened by hearing of the passing of a consumer and always take serious reports of illnesses or injury from regulated products. The agency added that it generally does not comment on possible pending or ongoing litigation and monitors the marketplace of FDA-regulated products and takes action as appropriate, including collaborating with the Federal Trade Commission regarding marketing claims. So the family of college student, this is the other one who died. Sarah Katz, 21, died of cardiac arrest after drinking charged lemonades from Panera. We are saddened to learn about the tragic passing of Sarah Katz. While our investigation is ongoing, out of abundance of caution, we have enhanced our existing caffeine disclosure for these beverages at our bakery cafe's website and on the Panera app. At age 5, Katz was diagnosed with cognitive long QT syndrome type 1, which resulted in potentially life-threatening abnormal heart rhythms due to potassium ion channels in the heart not working properly. So people like this shouldn't... Okay. So the thing is, people like this, down here it says, she was very aware of her health, Kat's roommate and friend Victoria Conway told them. She was very vigilant to avoid caffeine. She never drank coffee. So this doesn't necessarily sound like negligence on this girl's part. Whereas, like, if you have a condition like that, you are paying attention, you should know not to have certain things, right? It sounds like she did. So it sounds like on her part, it was just an honest mistake of, okay, I'll have this lemonade at Panera Bread. And she didn't know that it contained what it contained, and then it sounds like it killed her. Allegedly, it killed her. A regular 20-ounce serving of the charged lemonade contains 260 milligrams of caffeine. So that's slightly larger than a Monster, but that should not have that much caffeine in it because it's only 4 ounces larger than a Monster energy drink. The large 30-ounce contains 390 milligrams of caffeine. Wow. Okay. Generally, at lower doses, caffeine is not harmful, but higher doses, we begin to discuss the negative effects they can have on our body. The average adult drinks no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, so having one of those for an average person might not be the end of the world and probably won't kill them. But we had one man, I'm not sure what size he had, but one man had 3. If that was the 30 ounce, 400 times 3 is 1,200 milligrams of coffee. 390. So just below 1,200 milligrams. Not okay for the human body. If he had 3 of the 20 ounce, 260, that would be just under 1,000, right? Or maybe it would be about 1,000. I don't want to do fast math right now. But either way, that is not okay for the human body. 400 milligrams a day. This is like doubling that almost. The FDA notes that there is a wide variation in both how sensitive people are to the effects of caffeine and how fast they metabolize it, especially for certain conditions and some medications. They can make people more sensitive to caffeine's effects. So I was a pretty awful to myself my year right out of high school. And I was trying to work a lot and just earn money. And just before I got with my husband, I was single and I just would work a lot. And I had a lot of Monster energy drinks. I had them in my work locker and I would have 3 or 4 a day plus coffee. Plus if I was oh sure, let's go out friends, and I'd have a soda. Right. So I was I'm surprised that I'm alive because I was also 93 pounds at the time, and which isn't healthy, but throwing that much caffeine onto a 93 to 95 pound 18-year-old is not, especially a woman, Not good for your body. I don't do that anymore. It's funny because I would do that for like, it was like a 6-month period where I was like only having that for like beverages. I'd get them at work in the vending machine, and I cold turkey stopped having them and would just have like my cup or two of coffee instead. And I remember like a month later, I wanted a Monster because I was like, I haven't had one of those in so long. And it had been like a month of not having them. And I think I drank half of it and then I threw up a lot. So I was like, okay, I guess we're never having one of these again. And I had one. It's been years now, right? This was like 7 years ago. How old am I? 25? Whatever. However many years ago it was now. It was a while ago. I had one over the summer and I drank like half of it and it started making me feel super sick. So I just can't, I don't think my body can process those anymore. Just because it's like, I had a Rockstar actually. Trying to remember when, but my body just, the really syrupy, nasty ones like that, my body just can't process, I don't think anymore. It may not just be the caffeine. It might be like all the other crap that's in them that my body's just like, do not put that down into your tummy again because it will kill us. My body's just like, no. And all the warning signs are like, no, Brie, don't do it. So yeah, I don't typically, I've had like there's a joint near us, that has like energy drinks. There's not that much caffeine in them. They're basically coffees, and I'll get those from time to time. But I've avoided having anything that's too crazy like that, especially since I'm a coffee drinker as well. And I know that I'm a petite person. I don't want to overload my system and die of a caffeine OD. So that's crazy. So I guess if you go to Panera Bread, be careful that you don't have like 3 to 6 lemonades in a row. There was more I wanted to talk about today. I was going to hop over to this Blaze Media story. I still can. It's very quick. I guess I will. We'll end it with Blaze Media. So the Biden administration has passed, right? So executive order on advancing equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex individuals. And I have the whole thing. We're not going to break down chunks of it like I wanted to. Maybe I could do that in another episode. But I have that whole thing here that I will link for anyone who would like to read through it. And I also have the fact sheet that they shared as well, where they break it down to what they perceive it to mean. The Blaze put out this article a few days ago, Duty of the Christian Faith, the GOP lawmakers Biden administration for foster care plan that would ban many Christians. A group of conservative attorneys have urged the Biden administration to reel back a new rule that would essentially bar many Christian families from being able to foster children and put the whole foster care system at risk. Fox News Digital reported that Alabama attorney General Steve Marshall, along with 18 other Republican lawmakers, signed and sent a letter to the Department of Health and Human Services, claiming that the proposed rule violates the Constitution and discriminates against those who hold the Christian faith. And this was published November 28th as well. Biden's executive orders and stuff, that was from like, when was that? Was that June? June 15th, during Pride Month, of course. Not only would the new rule overtly discriminate against one's religion, the attorneys general suggested that the proposed rule would also harm children by limiting the number of available foster homes, harm families by risking kinship placements, and harm states by increasing cost and decreasing care options. Because I know a majority of people who do foster care and do it well are Christians, right? That's kind of part of the Great Commission in a way, is like allowing these children into your home to train them up. These injuries will be suffered where HHS fails to solve a problem that proposed rule does not even prove exists in foster care, so the letter, which was taped by Fox Digital. The proposed rule, known as the Safe and Appropriate Foster Care Placement Requirements, suggests that any lack of affirmation could be considered a form of child abuse. The rule would appear to reinterpret the Social Security Act in such a way that allows a child to call foul on a foster family who does not affirm what the child believes about himself. So I'm going to open that up, and I will also include that in the links that I post. So the summary, I'll at least read the summary here. Federal law requires the state and tribal title agencies ensure that each child in foster care receives a safe and proper care and has a case plan that addresses specific needs of the child while in foster care to support the health, their well-being. Federal law also requires children age 14 and over. Agencies must consult with them about their care plans to ensure agencies meet and other related statutory requirements. AACF proposes to specify the steps agencies must take when implementing the case plan and case requirements for children in foster care who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, as well as children who are non-binary or have non-conforming gender identities or expressions, all of whom are referred to under the umbrella term LGBTQI+ for purpose of this regulation. So, yeah, I will include that because it is very long to read. The rule indicates steps agencies must abide to meet the requirement for LGBTQ+I whatever children defined as children who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning intersex, as well as children who are non-binary or have a non-conforming gender identity or expression. Before agencies would be allowed to provide a home for a child, the foster parents would have to prove that they maintain an environment free of hostility, mistreatment, or abuse based on the child's LGBTQI status. Granted, if you had a child that was in your home and you were a foster parent, and they said that they were bisexual, whatever, LGBTQ, and you beat them for it, or you physically harmed them for it, or you were verbally abusive and told them that they were this, and this for it, or you were genuinely an abusive person toward it, that is wrong. You should not be doing that. However, things that they will term as abuse are, we're going to go to church this Sunday. We're going to talk with you. Why do you feel like you are LGBTQ? They would say that that's conversion therapy. Conversion therapy nowadays is not sticking electrodes on somebody's head and zapping them till they cry, I'm not gay anymore. Conversion therapy inherently is not wrong when it is done correctly, where you sit down, you could have a counseling session, get to the root of the issue, see why the person feels this way, and then go from there. But when you hear conversion therapy, you think mental asylum, let's put you in a boiling bath, let's zap you with electricity and physically harm you until your brain rewires itself, just the weird stuff that the 1950s insane asylum picture that you have. The parent would also need to undergo training to be prepared with the appropriate knowledge and skills to provide for the needs of the child related to the child's self-identified sexual orientation, gender, blah, blah, blah. And lastly, the family would have to facilitate the child's access to age-appropriate resources, services, and activities that support their health and well-being. Cutting a child's thing, I'm trying to use like sensitive words because we're talking about kids, but chopping off a child's genitals is not going to support their health and well-being. If anything, it is going to destroy their lives for whatever is left of them. The Attorney General, who signed the letter that caring for children in need is a duty of the Christian faith, noting the foster care system would not be what it was unless there were Christian families involved to care for foster children. The letter argues the foster care system depends on individuals and organizations of faith. And it does. Because apart from God, we are selfish, we are disgusting, we are immoral, and we don't want to care for other people. But, yeah, so that's disturbing because that means that a family who is Christian and wants the best for this child would really be forced to say, okay, well, he wants to cut off his penis and the state says that's what's best for the child, this 12-year-old boy, say, but the Bible says this, and that's not a position that anyone's going to want to be in. But yeah, that's very sad. I'm hoping this stuff doesn't actually happen. But under the Biden administration, anything's possible, I guess. Which brings us to the last topic of the day, and then we will be done, which I'm going to pull up quickly. The Telegraph had an article for men who menstruate, right? World's first tampons for men are an insult to women. Company says that trans men might continue to experience menstrual cycles even while undergoing hormone treatment to change gender. Let's reread that slowly. Company says that trans men might continue to menstruate. In other words, they are talking about women. Trans men might continue to experience menstrual cycles. We're not talking about, men to women using these tampons. We are talking about the female to male transitioners using these tampons. They are still women. They are still inherently women. They're biological women. They're making tampons for women. These are not men. They're making tampons for women. This clip from the article I pulled says, trans men menstruate while undergoing hormone therapy. The company says that trans men, females who identify as male, might continue to experience menstrual cycles even while undergoing hormone treatment to change gender, or may choose not to have such therapy at all and will still have periods. Women. And that's all I'm going to say. So this tampon company, whichever one it is like, we made tampons for men. Ha! Such a step in gender equality. And it's like, you just made tampons for women that have beards. Sorry. That's all it is. And I'm going to leave now. I'm going to hop off. Hopefully next time you see me, I will have a much better saturated image up here. I'm really glad I wore a cool tone, which you probably can't tell it is, but I wore a bluey, like the dog. No, I wore a bluish green shirt today, and it's really pulling the green out of it. Yeah, this is a much cooler tone shirt than it looks on the camera. But yep, so we will see everyone hopefully next week. Hopefully that wasn't too rambling. It was a little much, I feel like, but I've also been gone a while, so almost an hour of brie is what you're going to get. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I'll try and be back next week. And if for some reason I end up going MIA again, have a great rest of your Christmas season.